Hello and welcome to Conversations on Karate. I'm Sue.
I'm Greg, and we're joined today by Gus Rogers. Welcome, Gus.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. Very, very pleased to be here talking to you.
No, you're more than welcome. You are a Tang Soo Do practitioner.
That is correct. Yes.
Sacrilege on a karate podcast.
But if we said English both ways, it'd just be the open hand podcast, and then we'd both be fine. So
Yeah, no, it would be good.
this is what I spend most of my life explaining to people. And the metaphor I use is that we all wear shoes, and everyone's happy with that. But if everyone wore the exact same shoes, we'd all freak out. And that's how I say about the different martial arts. We're just
absolutely.
different brands of trainers, and whatever's comfortable for you, that's good. These just happen to be the trainers that I first started wearing, and I still like wearing them. I wear other trainers as well, like do jiu-jitsu and I do karate and eskrima sticks and stuff like that. But
Nice.
thanks, it's just the shoes that fit me best.
Nice. I love that analogy, actually. That's great. So you've been on for 30 seconds, and I'm going to steal that.
No, please steal it, because again, it's about sharing ideas, and these ideas, like we were just talking about off air, when you're training all the time, you just kind of accept whatever's said to you. And then when you talk to people, you kind of realize everyone's doing the same thing with me. They're just in a different town.
Yeah.
It's like that old Western thing. They go to the same Western town all the time, and it looks slightly different, but it's the same story. Everyone's got a similar story and is doing the same thing. And that's what I love about the martial arts community, is that, when you start your journey, you think you're alone. And then the more you go on, you go like, oh no, everyone did the same thing, and everyone went through the same hardships and everything. And we're all really chill, and we all just get on with each other. So I love that about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So talk to us briefly about your martial arts history. How did you get started? Obviously, we know you got started in Tang Soo Do. When was that? And talk to us a little bit about your martial journey.
It's actually quite exciting, because you never really remember your first class or what date it was or what day it was or anything. But I kind of worked out that it would have been 30 years ago this month that I would have started Tang Soo Do.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite a pivotal month for me, just looking back at a lifetime of training and memories and things like that. But I actually wanted to start martial arts a lot younger, like yourself, Greg. I think you started when you were 7, and I think I wanted to get into martial arts at a similar age. My dad used to show me all the films, like the Game of Deaths and the End of the Street Fighters with Sonny Chiba, which I probably shouldn't have been watching at 4 years old, but I like them all the same, all the skull cracking and everything. And I wanted to do martial arts, and then obviously at my age, the Karate Kid came out, and then it was the first film that, because Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and all these people look like superheroes to me. They were just, there's no way you could ever be them. But Daniel LaRusso was so rubbish. You were like, I could do that. I could do what Daniel does. And I wanted to go to a school, and I always feel bad about saying this, because I keep calling it kickboxing school, but it could have been a karate school. It could have been anything. The only thing I really remember at the school, because I was so young, was they weren't wearing uniforms, and it was heavily sparring. There were older kids there, and I don't remember learning anything. I went to 3 lessons, and all it was fighting the entire lesson, and I just got my ass handed to me, as you would when you don't know anything.
Yeah.
I just remember being so upset, and I remember the instructor not being very sympathetic to me at all. And I just remember thinking, Cobra Kai's real. Unless I had an actual Mr. Miyagi come around my house and teach me, I'll never learn. So I just threw it away and went, right, well, I'll just keep watching. I still like watching martial art films and things like that, but I'll never be good at it. And then my younger brother, 5 years younger than me, we moved to a new town, and it's the similar story. He's 5 or 6 or 7, and he wants to do a martial art club. And the new town we go to at the local leisure centre happens to be Tang Soo Do. I've never heard of it. And he goes, and then my mum kind of turns to me and goes like, you want to do this when you were your brother's age? This is much better. The instructor's great. You should give it a go. And I went there at age 13, very skeptical, going, this is going to be rubbish. This is going to be like before, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't totally. And I always tell people this, that it wasn't the style, it was the instructor. The instructor, Chris Long, was amazing, and the club atmosphere was brilliant. And for the first time in my life, I realized that if I worked really hard at something, I could be good at it. And that was life-changing for me. And I always tell people that, all the good things that have happened in my life are because of martial arts. So I try and give back to the community any way I can from now on.
I love that. That's great. It's so true about the instructor. The instructor makes the experience. You could be the best martial art in the world. If you've got a terrible instructor, it's just Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like a lot of people, especially when I started training, probably when you started training, went to the martial arts school and then just accepted that's what it was. And I said, well, you don't just eat one sort of food and you don't just go to one film. You try lots of things out and then you go, no, this is my favorite food. This is like
Mm.
car I like to drive. And martial arts should be the same thing. You should try out lots of different martial arts. And I hate studios that make you join up before you can join in, and things like that. Because
Yeah.
we always offer free classes and you can come in and watch and things like that. Because we go like you got to try stuff out. You got to see if this is your shoe that fits you.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to think that I think as a martial arts community, we are moving away from that cult-like.
Well, the internet, you can't hide things anymore. I think when I started, there was
Yeah.
there was no way of comparing. I was in my town, I did my style. But even when I started, this is the thing, I've always cross-trained as well. It's like as soon as I did Tang Soo Do, I wanted to do it all the time because my club was only open twice a week. So I went and did Aikido and I enjoyed the Aikido. And then I asked them, I said, do you guys kick? Because I really like kicking. And they were like, no, we don't kick. Kicking's stupid. And I was like, oh, I probably won't like Aikido then because I really like, at 13, I really like to kick. But I was trying things
Mm.
even then as a kid. I was like, what else is on offer? And it was that same thing. I went to a couple of lessons, learned how to wrist roll and things like that, and I enjoyed it. But I was like, I realized then I was like, well, I'm enjoying this style more because of this aspect of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't. They don't cross train, and they discourage to cross train and everything else. And I just think it's so silly.
It is. It is. It's a shame because, like you said, I'm the same as you. Like I've cross-trained quite a bit, but I always go back to karate in terms of like that's the base. That's the thing I have the most interest in.
Yeah, and that's
And
and
I
that's,
think
and
it,
that's fine. And
yeah, but just
it's
just
fine.
because you do other things doesn't mean that negates the art that you start in. I think a lot of people worry sometimes that they're going to do something else and all of a sudden that the art they start in becomes irrelevant or something like that. I don't know. It's this weird feeling that people have, I think.
But it's also fine to do a martial art for 20 years, go somewhere else, do something else, then start that and forget
Yeah,
about
of course.
that. That's fine too. It's
Yeah.
not I have this motto, people ask what I offer people, and I go like, look, everyone needs to be fit and healthy. Everyone should be part of a positive community, and everyone should have goals that they can achieve. And I said, as long as you're doing those three things, nothing else really matters.
Mm.
As long as you're
Yeah,
doing those three
absolutely.
things, it's great.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the book.
Yes, yes, the book. Um,
You released, I'm gonna make a joke.
no,
You released a cookbook.
that is true. I did really. I'm happy to talk about that as well. Because obviously, when I started, all you had was books, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was this idea of this is this is the instruction, here's the picture, make the pose. It's in black and white. And I remember very quickly going, books are limited.
Mm.
Uh, books have problems. But on the same time, without writing things down, there's no way of getting the message out there. So it's kind of like this catch 22 50-50 situation of what's the best way. But
Yeah.
the idea was that I didn't want my martial art book to be just a big angry picture of my face or, like that, because that's what a lot of like 90% of martial art books look
Yeah.
like buy this book or I'll punch you kind of thing. Um, and again, I know you've trained with Sensei Abernathy.
Yeah.
He said something to me that just stuck. And that thing that he said was that, the forms aren't fighting. And people who think that are deluded. And it's the same way as someone thinking that if you wrote down a recipe, you'd suddenly be this amazing chef.
Yeah.
It's not true. That stuck in my head so much, the cooking. And again, when I'm trying to explain things to people, everyone understands cooking.
Mm.
And when I'm trying to explain the concept of shuhari, I use cooking with it. When you start cooking, you need the recipe, you look at it
Hmm.
2 seconds and you're panicking about the things. And then eventually you make the whatever it is you're making, pasta or whatever, your soup or whatever you're making. You don't need the recipe anymore. You just do it
Mm.
offhand. And then you start adding stuff to it and going like, well, I'm going to add this pepper or paprika, or I'm going to change this with this, swap out this meat for that meat. And everyone goes, and then the top chefs in the world break all the rules and
Yeah.
they're making lots of money. And I just think that should be the journey of a martial artist. When you start, you need the discipline. You need people to say, stand there, stay still there, like move your hands slightly 9 degrees to the left. You need that because you don't know anything. You don't know your left from your right. And then eventually, when you start fighting, you start making up your own combos. In the self-defense drills, you start doing something your instructor didn't show you, and your instructor hopefully doesn't berate you. They go, "That's great, Greg. Keep doing that. That is
Mm.
brilliant. That is awesome. Well done. You've improved." And then you start teaching, and you go like, "Oh, I'm in charge. I need to make this up." So I don't know your karate background, but you most likely had one steps, right?
Yes.
They would attack you once, then you do
Yep.
the sequence. Well, I don't know how much you know about Tang Soo Do and the association I was in, but for black belt, I had to learn 90 of these one steps.
Oh wow.
Really?
God.
Yes,
Oh
it
my
was.
God.
I know, I know. I tell people and they go like, "Why didn't you leave?" And I go, "I don't know. I love my instructor so much." And also I'm a martial art nerd, so I just liked learning things.
Yeah.
And I got this idea of like, like you get awarded for remembering better than anyone else and all this weirdness
Hmm.
that creeps in and you just accept it because you go like, well, I'm having fun, so I must be learning it. My instructor's happy with me, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, there was these 91 steps. And then when I started training with, Sensei Abernathy and other people who were more open-minded to the self-defense and the history of forms and the holistic training, I kind of went, why aren't the one steps to do with your forms? Like I never got that. I was like, you're learning these moves, and I guess this moves from Basai, but you're teaching it a white belt, and this other moves from Sipsu, but you're teaching it an orange belt, and all this stuff never made sense. And when my old association asked me to go for my master's fourth dan, as a requirement, you have to write a 20,000 word thesis.
Mm.
And a lot of people just do it as, oh, I have to do this to get my belt. And I don't think like that at all. For me, the belt isn't important. I just like training and I like testing because it's to me, it's just a big pressure test. So I enjoy that element, but the belt doesn't mean anything to me. So I was doing this thesis and I kind of said to my brain, I said, well, if I was in charge of everything, I'd get rid of these one steps. And instead of it being random movements and loads, it'd just be moves about your forms. So you learn Pyong Chodan. Guess what? You've got to learn some applications from Pyong Chodan. They should be a principle, so they're all linked. They're not just random, and they
Mm.
should be a pressure test. And the way it goes, because again, the one step was always like a single punch or a single
Yeah.
kick or a single grab. It was never realistic. It was never like, well, it's chaos now, and they're throwing haymakers, and now they're going for their legs, and now they're trying to push you against the wall. It was never that. So I was like, well, the pressure test should get increasingly harder. Like the pressure test should be there. And it should also be this idea that you should be able to fail like thousands of times and get used to failing, which is the wonderful thing I love about jujitsu is that you just fail like 90% of the time. And then
Yeah.
at the time you actually do the move and you're like, oh my God, I got out. I'm safe. That thing, you need that for real practical self-defense. So that's what I did with my system. It's a system to help people probably like the way you started training and like the way I started training, change this in the idea of, yeah, I love karate or Tang Soo Do or whatever your traditional system is. I love forms, I love learning, but I also feel a need to have a practical element of it. So it's not like 50 people onto a white belt, but also it's not like a simple wrist grab for like a black belt, like it should be increasingly harder. And the idea of the book is like once you've gone through it, you can go back through it again and sort of look at it at new eyes. So it wasn't a linear book of like here's A, here's B. I
Yeah.
tried it so it was this idea again. Sensei Abernathy's been pivotal in my training of like the training matrix where you've got the form, you've got the application, you've got the principle, and then you test it, and you just boom, 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 elements, rinse, repeat. So that's basically the crux of the book. And then the cooking metaphor was one. I think everyone loves a cookbook, so it looks a bit more attractive for people on a shelf. It's going to stand out a bit.
It does. It looks great.
And yeah, well, that's the thing. The bibimbap on. Have you ever had Korean food? Have you had bibimbap?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, I must recommend, please go to your nearest Korean restaurant. It's the best food in the world. I'm
Okay.
actually reminiscing because a year ago I was actually in Korea and it was one of the best experiences in my life. And, obviously Korean food's a big part of it. And if you go to the Korean restaurant, I recommend you try the bibimbap. It's usually a dish with lots in it, but it's got four sections of food, like with four elements. So on the front cover of the book, you see the bibimbap before they mix it in the hot pot, and then what they do is they crack an egg in the middle, and then they mix it all up. And then the back of the book is it all mixed together, so you can't tell what ingredients are in there. And that is, again, the cooking metaphor to martial arts that I'm trying to
Yeah,
get.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and find a Korean restaurant now.
Please find a Korean restaurant, go immediately. Yeah. And if you're ever in Wales, I'll be happy to take you to one.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Mhm. There we go.
So you mentioned obviously Ian Abernethy's been pivotal in your martial arts journey.
Yeah.
I think he probably has to most traditional martial artists moving into kind of the more practical aspect. I think he seems to be one of those guys that everyone seems to gravitate towards.
And again, it was my, you said your instructor stopped training, and I had the same thing. I had an instructor who was showing me applications, showing me this world, but he was very old school, and I was like, I want to learn more. Can we film it? Can we do this? And he'd be like, no filming. I'll show you another time. And he's like, we've got to do other stuff in the lesson now. And I just wanted to learn that stuff because I loved it so much. And when he retired, I was just like, oh, I'm a teacher now, and I want to keep this going.
Mm,
I don't have, I didn't have time to start another, like completely start again. I was like on this journey teaching, and because he'd retired, I was like yourself, I was looking after the area and teaching the students, and I was going, they're going to look to me now for these applications. I need a teacher, and I literally just typed into YouTube or Google, whatever it was, Nahanshi fighting, because that's what we were doing at the time, and Sensei Abernathy came up first, and then I started listening to his podcast and going to his seminars, and yeah, just blew my mind and open my world to go like, oh, it's not just my instructor doing it. It's not just us doing it. Everyone's doing it. I just gotta go out and meet people and say hello and train with them and that sort of thing. So again, it's just that the book is my way of saying hello. It's my way of saying like I'm into this as well. But I know, the one thing I know about doing it for 30 years is I realize I know nothing. That's the wonderful thing about it. It's like you train for so long and you go like, oh, I actually know nothing. So I'm so happy to be the white belt in the room and go like, please show me everything you know, because I'm just an empty cup ready for knowledge.
yeah, that's one of the best feelings I think.
Yeah, I love it.
Is yeah,
I hate being
yeah,
in charge. I love being the white belt in the class.
Mm.
absolutely. Well, I'm hoping you're teaching at the mixed seminar in Bristol in September, I believe.
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's a
Yes,
great event. I really enjoy that event.
yes. So I'm gonna try and come to your session.
Cool. I'll be showing some things from the book there, so
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
can share ideas. It'd be great to meet you in person.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
What's
that'd
the
be
date of
good.
that one again?
It's
The
the
20th.
third weekend of September.
Yeah, I think yeah, 20th September.
That
Mhm.
sounds really good.
Yeah.
No, it's great. There's loads of great people there, and the way they've got the zone set up, they're really big, and they have there's you're able to have a rest and go to different things. Again, both of the shows I've been to have been really well organized, and Claire and her team are lovely.
Yeah, that should be good. I look forward to actually catching up and doing some training with you. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's the plans going forward now the book's out and about, and what's the reception been like?
Well, it's not actually out yet. That's why I'm doing all these podcasts to let
Oh,
people
okay. I thought it
know.
was out.
No, no, no. So I wanted a big event to sort of launch the book. So I'm using the UK Martial
Okay.
Arts Show as my launching point. But again, because I'm self-publishing, it was like, how many books do I get published? So this is why I'm doing
Mm.
all this sort of pre-advertising, and we're doing pre-sales and things like that. So I've sold a lot of copies around the world. I'm really grateful.
Oh, that's awesome.
People have been sharing and stuff. So you can buy the book now on my website as a pre-order, but it actually comes out May 3rd at the UK Martial Arts Show. And again, that's another show where Bob and Paul and everyone there have been so kind to me since I've been going there, and they've always been very kind. So they're allowing me to have a stall to sell the book and things. So
Oh,
that's
that's
what I'm
awesome.
on. So yeah, at the moment, my main thing is just get the book out and see people's reactions and things. But the few people who have read it, it's been very, very positive so far, the feedback I've had. So
Mm.
I'm really pleased because again, I just wrote it as a thesis. It was just done as an obligation, but I wanted to give it my all because that's what I like to do in everything I try and do now. And I remember when I went to my old association, they told me it was too ambitious, which is funny considering how big my organization used to be and how many people they must have had writing thesis. And the thing is, I was doing all this stuff anyway with my students. All I was doing was writing it down and making it formulaic so anyone can follow it. So, like for example, if you wanted to teach this kind of system with the forms that you were doing, and you could apply it to any form or any way of training. You don't have to do, because I've just used the Pyong forms because they're kind of seen as like junior forms for
Yeah.
sort of white to red, and everyone kind of knows them, or they'll know
Yeah, I was
the
going to say they're pretty universal, aren't they?
rules. I try to make it universal, and this idea of like I wanted, again, you must come across this all the time of like people in traditional systems, they give people black belts just for showing up,
Mm.
and I hated that because when you say you're a black belt, whether you know the style Tang Soo Do or not, you know what a black belt is. So it's universally accepted that like, oh, this person should be in some way be able to at least prevail in some sort of self-defense situation.
Yeah.
And I never wanted, like, again, when I was teaching in my old association, my guys would kind of look at me and go like, "Oh, this person from blah 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 town, they've got a black belt, and they can't even do half the stuff that we're doing." And I would go, "Yeah, but don't, number one, don't compare yourself to people, but also like it's you. You've got to care about you and your black belt. And me as my instructor, when I give you that black belt, or when that black belt gets put on you, I want that stamp of approval. It goes like, look, if you stop training here now, I don't have to worry about you. And when I say I don't have to worry about you, I don't want them to go out and pick fights, but it's like you can have the confidence to get a
Yeah.
job. You're gonna follow your dreams. It's that you're gonna do what you want to do. You're not gonna be, again, I'm using these extremes now, but you're not gonna be a pushover. Not gonna be too shy to put yourself out there. That's what I mean by take care of yourself. I mean, like for myself, like I got my black belt when I was 18, and then I stopped training for 5 years. But in those 5 years, I did a bunch of stuff that I know for a fact that if there was like a sliding doors timeline where there's guess who didn't do Tang Soo Do and guess who did do Tang Soo Do, guess who didn't do Tang Soo Do wouldn't have done half the things I would have done. I wouldn't have had
Yeah.
the confidence to do them. So look after yourself means self-protection, following your dreams. Don't be a pushover. Don't get into toxic relationships. All this stuff. It's just a stamp of approval of like you have been through hard times. You have built character. You now are set for life. And if you want to carry on training, if you want to go on, it's limitless. We can do more. I always tell my students you'll never run out of things to learn. That's one of the things I try and train myself. Like if you quit after 6 months, 6 years, that's fine. But if you want to keep going, I'll keep thinking of things for you to do. It won't end, trust me.
Yeah. It never ends.
No, it never ends. That's
It's a
when
never-ending journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who's nodding away?
Oh yeah, no, it's very true. I don't know. I think once you've been through the first few years of karate, that was for me. Once all of a sudden you start making the connections and you start seeing it. Then the different arts, you see the different arts. You think, yeah, this is just gonna keep on rolling and expanding and going pretty much forever. That's when you start regretting that I didn't start when I was 10. Because there's so much to learn, so much to do. So I love that you're really encouraging of people to just explore and expand.
Mhm. Can I share with your talking about doing martial arts forever and this journey and everything that you're on? Can I quickly share with you it's my dad's theory on happiness?
Oh, yeah, please do.
Oh yeah.
Because when I tell people, they're always quite shocked. So my dad proposes that there's three kinds of happiness. So short-term happiness will be what you experience when you go for this Korean meal. It will be lovely, you'll have a great time, but it will finish very quickly. So I call it a roller coaster, a night out, a holiday. Very, very intense, but there's no way it can keep going forever. So that's short-term happiness. And then there's mid-term happiness, which is like a job, a relationship. It grows and grows and grows, but then it will peak off, and it can't ever go higher and higher. Long-term happiness is a garden. It's very slow. No one really cares about it but you. But the more work you put into your garden, the more it will grow, and it will never stop. So I tell people all the time that martial arts is my garden.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. And I am as excited about martial arts now as I was when I was 13 years old. It
Mm.
doesn't stop. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are unhappy because they're looking for short-term happiness and they don't know what long-term happiness is. So then they can't even enjoy the short-term happiness.
Mm.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I like,
chasing something, chasing shiny objects,
yeah,
looking for that one thing that's going to say,
quick
yeah,
fix. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, makes sense. That's very philosophical.
Yeah, I
I
really
mean,
like that.
that is like three different philosophical paths there, isn't it?
And we've also got the name of the episode.
Truly.
That the name of the episode is going to be Martial Arts is My Garden, 100%.
That's what I tell people all the
That's
time.
lovely.
I tell, like my teaching style is martial arts for all. One of the things that you might not know about me is that over the last 5 years, I've really tried to help students with all additional needs, but with autism as well,
Hmm.
because I actually had brain damage when I was 3 years old,
Oh wow.
and they thought I was going to die from meningitis.
Oh,
So I'm lucky to be alive. And when I was a kid, I didn't even know I had this. I just thought I was clumsy, but I had dyspraxia. So I was really bad at all sports. So I couldn't really join in with things. And then I found martial arts, and it helped my coordination and helped with everything. And again, my instructor was so patient with me and just helped me along. And I just want to give that to everyone now who I teach. There's so many people who will walk into a club and like that thing I was saying about it being overwhelming for them, they just walk straight back out the door and they go,
Mm.
I was like my experience when I was 5 years old. And I don't want that to be for them. I want to go like I'll go as slow as you want and I'll be as patient as you want. And the idea is that we'll keep building. And my metaphor for it, or my saying that I give all my students, but especially my students with autism and additional needs, is like we build confidence and then we add adversity. So we're constantly trying to build them up to feel like, again, talking about, Power Rangers and superpowers. It's like you give them a new belt, you give them this new reward, and you go like, you're amazing, you've done this incredible thing, and then they seem to get this new superpower, and then you can add this adversity, and then they deal with it, and it's a
Mm.
wonderful cycle that I try and teach. So this year when I go to the martial arts show, we often do a demo because again, even people in the martial arts world don't know what Tang Soo Do is, and it's one of the ways that I got onto the UK martial arts show circuit. I kind of went up there for 2 years in a row, and I went, Bob, you haven't got any Tang Soo Do here. Do you plan on having some here? And he just turned to me and went, do you want to do it? And I was like, oh, okay, yes. Oh, I'll do it. So huge responsibility. But this year, I'm taking up one of my first students who started working with me 5 years ago, and he was a student with autism that couldn't be in a class because it was too noisy. I couldn't touch him. And now he's going to come on stage and he's going to be doing crazy breaking techniques and he's going to be
Oh,
doing.
that's amazing.
We're having a staff fight against each other, all this craziness
oh
that
wow.
if you met this kid 5 years ago, you'd go like, that would be torture for him. That would be hell. And he's going to come up now and he's going to be the star of the show. I get to go like, no, this is my student. He gets to be the star. I just helped him on his journey.
Mm. Good for
It's
you.
fantastic.
Good for you. Good for him for
Yeah.
having that kind of courage, but good for you for the patience and the openness it takes. Because not all clubs will do this.
Well, I know that because it's not financially viable to say like we're going to have a small class with just 8 students and we're going to do these slow private sessions and we're going to it doesn't
Ah,
it doesn't make sense in a commercial sense, does it? If I could have 50 students in a club, or if I had 8 students, you could have the person going, well, I want 50 students. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but I truly believe that martial arts can help anyone, And again, I teach Tang Soo Do, but I also teach a screamer stick. And I say to people, like, when people turn to me and go, like, I'd love to do the Tang Soo Do, but I've got a bad hip or I've got a bad knee or I'm not very mobile. I could go, well, you can do the screamer stick in a wheelchair. Like, you don't need that. So I like to offer that. And we teach stretching classes and, lower intensity classes because we don't want anyone to say the excuse like I'm too old for this or I'm too
Mm.
this. We want to get them through the door and say like everyone should experience this. Like if you come in and you don't like it, it doesn't bother us at all. That's fine. But if you're too scared to try it because of reasons you have in your head, like you think it's too violent or you think it's this or that, you've got this assumption about it. We want to take those assumptions away. Because again, it seems silly to feel like you know so much about it without even trying it.
Yeah.
So my second book, if I ever write it, will be about autism and write it in 3 stages: how to teach it, how to be a parent with a child with autism, and if you have autism yourself, how you can do it through martial arts. Because again, I know zero about autism apart from the fact that my brother and my father had it, and I live with it. But I know a lot about martial arts, and I know that, so I just do that.
That was going to be my next question. What would your next book be? So you've answered that. And I
Yeah.
think
Well,
that's a,
again, the autism thing I think is more I think there's lots of books about form applications and things like that.
mm,
But I just thought that if people were going to take my book on autism seriously, I'd need to know a little bit about martial arts so they would listen to me. So the idea is the first book is just like again, it's a hello. It's like, here I am. This is Tang Soo Do. Hopefully,
yeah.
one of the things I did was I sent the book to lots of people who didn't do Tang Soo Do to say like, does this have universal appeal. Like again, if you don't do traditional martial arts, I don't know how much. Like if you're already doing like something like jujitsu and you're already doing something super practical, then I guess it wouldn't have much value. But if you're in a traditional system, if you do line work, if you do forms, and you want to make it more practical, I hope my book is a good transitionary period to at least make you go like, huh, I never thought of it like that before. I'm gonna look at my training like that. And then the second book would be about like, because again, one of the things I have with my autism program is someone will say like, oh, your program's great, but do you have it in this town? Do you have it in Cardiff? Do you have it like, when they're not able to travel that far? And
Mm.
then I was like, well, I don't think what I'm doing is incredibly complicated if I could put it in a book video. Because another thing about my book you might not know, and a lot of people, I haven't read every martial art book, but a lot of people have told me this is quite revolutionary, is in my book, every chapter has a QR code. So for every application, every pressure test, there's a accompanying video.
That's
So
brilliant.
it doesn't have to be in that old world of here's the picture, make the shape. Here's the picture as a reference point. You'll see this in video A. And on video A, it will link you to a YouTube video where you can leave a comment and speak to me, and I can chat back and forth to you like an instructor. So that's the exact same way I would do my autism book.
Yeah,
That's
Because
I think that's
incredible.
such a good idea.
and again, I'm surprised no one's done it before, but everyone I've spoken to has said I've never seen that before. That's the one thing they say when they read the book. They go like, I've just never seen that before. And I
That
go,
is amazing.
but everyone uses QR codes and everyone watches YouTube. So I'm like, why not marry the two together?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's such a good idea.
yeah,
It's
that's a really good
insanely good.
idea.
I
I'm,
love
I'm,
it.
I'm sorry I didn't mention it before. It's just again like this. I've been with this book now for 3 years. So for me, I'm just like I want to
Yeah.
finish it. Like it's just
Yeah.
been on my mind and on my as well as everything else I do, like teaching and training myself. It's just been a huge part of me. So I'm just like I want to release it. I want to sell it to someone in person and that's it. And then put it to
Yeah.
bed.
See,
Yeah.
I was going to ask, so about you said you've been working on it for 3 years. Every time, because I've always intended to write something,
Mhm.
and every time I sit down to make a start, I go, I'm not a writer. I've no idea what I'm doing.
I'm not a writer either. I am
And
very
then, yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you find
So
getting started and sticking with it?
So here's a great thing. So I hate talking about lockdown in any podcast. That's one of the things I'm like, don't bring up lockdown, don't say it. It's like trying to forget, like trying to repress the memory. But during lockdown, it was after Christmas. It was January 2021, and we'd just been locked down again after Christmas, and
Hmm.
everyone's spirit was like, my friend made a WhatsApp group, and he said, we're gonna do in February this thing called Goly Moly February. And he said, you can do whatever you like, but every day you're going to do something that you want to do, challenge yourself, and we're going to share it in this group, and we're all going to motivate each other. And my friend Adam orchestrated this. He did all the work, and I joined in the group, and I said, well, there's all this stuff that I keep saying to myself, I'm going to do. I'm going to learn how to do this kick, or I'm going to learn how to do this move. And I always use the excuse that I don't have time, or there's not enough time, or there's not enough hours in the day. I said, I got a gym. I've got my own dojang. So I gave myself a list of 28 kicks and like tricks and all this stuff that I've always wanted to do my entire life, but always been too scared to do. And in that month, I did 26 out of the 28 challenges I gave myself.
Oh wow.
It was ridiculous and it was amazing. And I always said about that month, I said it was great. It was in the darkest time, but in this darkest time again, I found my garden. I went back to martial arts, and every day I felt this incredible thing. Like it was like tricks. Like I always wanted to be able to do a kip up, and I always wanted to be able to do like a vertical side kick, and all this stuff that I talked about doing. And I'm going like, there's not enough hours in the day. So I did all these crazy sort of Jackie Chan-esque moves that I'd always wanted to do my entire life. Yeah, at 40. You know what I mean? This is like that's the mad thing about it as well. Like I'm not a spring chicken anymore. But I did them all. And then 22 came around. My friend Adam said the same thing. He's like, we're gonna do goalie moly again. And I said, I don't know, I can't do it again. Like it's like the gym's open now. I'm teaching full time. There's no way I could commit something like what I did last year. And then I'd already been given the assignment. So in my old association, you had to test for your masters twice. So I'd done the first test, and they go like, "Well, you passed the first test. Now you got to write this thesis, this 20,000 word essay." So I got just a whole year to do 20,000 words, which is why I think people do it so quickly and usually make it so simple because they haven't got the time. And I
Mm.
think, okay, during February, I'm going to make sure I do 500 words a day. So I would sit down and just 500. And if I didn't do the 500 words, I just catch up the next day. Like if I was really busy and I couldn't do it for whatever reason, I just put it off to the next day. So my advice to you, Greg, if you want to write something, is number one, have an outline. So I always break things down to go like, this is what I want to say. So before I started writing, I knew exactly what I wanted to write. I wanted to do a history of where kata healing forms come from. I wanted to do the one-step connection and how I think the message got broken down during the passage of time. And then, I don't know how many belts you have in your system, but we've essentially got 5 belts: white, orange, green, brown, red, and then this thing called blue, which we call like black belt candidate. So I knew I had these 5 stages of learning, and I just gave myself a very strong structure, and then there'd be a conclusion at the end. So I had my structure down, and then it was just like fill in the gaps. So any problem solving I ever do, I always look at it as like a jigsaw puzzle.
Mm.
How do you do a jigsaw puzzle? You find the edge pieces, and then you find you find the corner pieces first, then you find the edge pieces, and you work your way to the center. And that is how I would solve any problem, like a book. Is I would have the structure and go like, here's what I definitely want to say. Boom, 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 and here's how I fill in these bits, and just like you give yourself an exercise routine, like I'm going to stretch this day, I'm going to do push-ups this day. You just say like, well, Saturday I'm going to sit down and write five, and it could be rubbish. You could write 500 words down and the next day you read it and go, oh my God, I don't know what I was thinking, this is terrible, and delete it all. But you did it. It's like what I tell people with stretching. People are always like, to me myself, being the age I am, they go like, how do you stay flexible? I just make myself do it every day. And it could be rubbish stretching. It could just be sitting with my legs wide apart while I'm on the computer. But I make sure I do something every day and then I stay
Mm.
flexible. And it's the same with writing. You just got to flex that muscle
Mm.
because you're not in the routine of
Yeah.
writing. Therefore, it's not a routine. But you know from martial arts how to make things routine. And that's what, again, myself telling my students, like I was always, before I started martial arts, I was always someone who would cut corners. I'd be like, I'm going to do the minimum amount of work for homework, or I'm going to, like tidy my bedroom, but just chuck everything under the bed. Like I was that kid. And then martial arts told me, yeah, but if I do it wrong, I won't be able to spar properly and I'm going to get my ass kicked. So with school, I don't want to do school again. Like I don't want to resit my GCSEs. I better do it properly because I'm only going to have to do it again if I don't do it properly the first time. So just taught me how to do things properly. And the same thing, you've got to stretch properly. You've got to do full chin-ups. You've got to, when you kick, you've got to fully extend your leg. Like the simplest stuff is just do everything properly. You ever read a book called How to Become a Supple Leopard?
No.
No, I've heard of the book though.
Great book. And I'll just give you the premise, and the book just reinforces this. It goes, does does a leopard need to stretch out before it hunts a gazelle? No, it doesn't. But why doesn't it need to stretch out before it runs that speed? It's because it's constantly stretching throughout the day. It's doing this. Oh, I'm going to get the word now. Animals do it all the time. They planiflex. They do that thing where they
Yeah.
down dog, up dog. They just do it without thinking, and they just do it like hundreds of times during the day. And I
Mm.
was like, that's what you've got to do. You've got to
Mm.
planiflex. And I'm getting the word wrong now. Someone's going to correct me. Hopefully, you can overdub it. I've got the word wrong. But it's that thing of you just naturally stretching all the way through the day. So, like, for example, like, you see a lot of karate and especially Tang Soo Do people, they walk into a gym and you go, you ready to train? And they go, yeah, just give me 20 minutes to stretch out and get warmed up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not that end scene in Way of the Dragon. Like Chuck Norris is not going to give you that time to stretch out. You got to be able to go. And it's so funny because I go to train with Sensei Abernathy whenever I can, and he'll often use me as his partner. I don't know why. He must like punching me or something. But I'm often his uki, which I'm incredibly honored by because there's like a room full of karate people, and there's me and my Tang Soo Do dobok on, and I just stand there like a sore thumb. And then he brings me up, and he'll always say this line whenever I'm partnered with him. He'd go like, yeah, because kicking in the face is absolutely ridiculous. No one would do this. And then he'll point to me and he goes, apart from this guy, because he knows I don't need to stretch out and I can just like vertical kick whenever I want to. And he goes, this guy can do it, but you guys can't, so don't do it. And he's always like testing me. He's going, you could kick me from here, right? In the face. And I go, yeah, I could kick you from the face from here. And it's really funny. But it's all down to my stretching and everything else like that. So we have a bit of fun about it, and I always tease Ian. I'm gonna do a kicking seminar and make you my uki for my kicking seminar.
Oh, yeah, that'd be brilliant.
So funny.
Yeah, that would be good.
Mm.
Yeah, stretching is one thing. I'm getting better at it.
Mhm.
I'm improving. but
You've
it's still a
you've
long way
put
to go.
you've put it started putting more of it in your warm up now.
I have. Well, yeah, not so much. It's
Hip
more hip
mobility.
mobility for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I'm literally making a video now because I just went up to a tournament and like six people asked me about my stretching. And so I said, right, I'm going to make a video of top 5 tips. So if you go to my YouTube channel, every Tuesday I put out a 45-minute stretching video, and I've got loads of things. Again, I just put out videos to help people. And I haven't finished it yet, but in the next couple of days there'll be a video on top 5 ways to
Mm,
be flexible and not get injured. That's the main thing. Like I
mm,
stretch so I don't get injured.
mm,
Being injured is miserable.
mm.
So
I,
again,
I know we'll put your links into everything, but for people who aren't looking and just
yeah,
listening, do you
yeah.
want to just tell us what is your YouTube channel?
So my school is called Heads of the Valleys Tang Soo Do. I usually pop up if you type in Tang Soo Do, I'll be one of the videos there. But Heads of the Valleys Tang Soo Do is there. So I do a bunch of channels. Like I've got a combo series, and I usually make like playlists of things that people can help people out with warm ups. I just try and give people ideas because again, when I was training, the content was very limited. And I know YouTube's a sea of like you just get lost in it. But
Mm,
again, I just try and my videos do 2 things. One, to share my journey and my club's journey. So we'll share gradings and tournaments and things like that. So it's a nice memory time portal. But also these videos of like what can help people self-defense. I do a little channel called Bunhai Wednesdays. That's like bunkai in Korean, where I share like some applications and some ideas and things like that. So there's lots of different things on there for people if they want to go check it out.
awesome.
will do. Will do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll link that in the
Oh yeah,
description of
we'll
the
put that
episode as
all
well.
in.
So yeah,
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 absolutely
definitely.
we will. Yeah, and I love that you're focused on the stretching. It's so often it's just the fighting or it's just the martial arts, and I think as anyone gets older, as you need all the stuff that goes with it to keep that body moving flexibly.
I tell people that I teach 5% self-defense and 95% self-preservation because the thing is,
Yeah,
you might go through your entire life not needing to defend yourself, but you need to live with yourself every day. So you should feel really good about your body and your mental health and everything. So again, it's this crossover. It's like I'm teaching self-defense. I want the self-defense to work, but ultimately, I want you to have a body that works so you can do the things you want to do. And
Yeah.
we've had people like I had a student who started at 58 and he used to be like a marathon runner and then something happened to his ankle and the doctor said you'll never run again. And after like 6 months or a year, he just did a whole tour of like the Himalayas and his foot's fine and he's like flying side kicks and he runs and he jumps and everything. And that's after the doctor said like you'll never use that ankle again at 58, and it's just like insane. We've got a lady who's 75 who's taking people down and stuff like that. So
nice.
it's never too late. Like people will come in like parents of kids who've brought their and they're looking at me and my partner who run the dojan and they go, oh, we're too old, we can't do it now. And I'll ask them how old they are, and they're like in their mid 30s, and we're just going like we're in our mid 40s. I still tell people I said I'm in my prime. I've never been more flexible or stronger or better control of my body. Like just you if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So just keep using it.
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's totally true. You've got to keep it moving.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you got to look after yourself. And stretching when you get into it, when you start enjoying it, it feels amazing. I do a 45-minute
Mm,
stretch class every week at my gym and everyone comes over. So it's like they feel incredible after.
mm. Yeah, it is. It's one of the most important things. That mobility, just absolutely fantastic. It adds to everything, like you say, even with self-defense or anything. Being
Mhm.
able to move, being
Move
able to be
better.
flexible, being able to get around. It's so good. It's important.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so this is always the question that gets the biggest response. We ask it to everyone.
Hmm.
First time being on. You've already touched on it, so we might know the answer.
Hmm.
But favorite martial arts movie of all time?
I'm going to say this movie. I actually did a top 5 for something the other day, but this is probably an answer that no one's given. I'm going to say The Tongan Ninja.
Never heard of it.
There
That's
you
a
go.
new answer.
I'm probably your
Woo!
listeners have never heard of it. So do you know about the Flight of the Conchords?
Yes.
So this is the Flight of the Conchords martial art movie. Jermaine Clements, the guy from Flight of the Conchords, he is the villain. He's called Marvin, and it is so funny. Peter Jackson actually did fake director's cut mockumentary about it. It is the funniest martial art film you will ever see,
Oh
and
my
I
God.
really, really enjoy it. It's from like 2002, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. That
It's incredible. I think all your listeners will enjoy it, and I just say it because no one's ever heard of it, and it's one of my favorites.
Oh my
Up there
gosh.
as well, films like Red Belt, Only the Strong, Fighter in the
oh,
Wind.
Red Belt's a brilliant film.
Red Belt's so good because it's about an instructor. Have you seen Fighter in the Wind?
No.
Story of Kyokushin. So good. Real story. That's brilliant. I want someone to do a Fighter in the Wind of Tang Soo Do. I think that would be great because you're just getting over the Korean War and everything else like that. I think that people, again, Cobra Kai's done wonders for the lexicon of people knowing the word Tang Soo Do, but I would
Yeah.
love to be a historical Tang Soo Do movie like Ip Man or like Fighter in the Wind. I think one of those would be good. Directed by Gareth Evans, who did The Raid. That is my dream film.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Completely unique film. I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm going to check that out. I was looking at it now. It looks
You can watch
quite
it the whole
funny.
film on YouTube, so it's quite accessible for everyone to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's all there on YouTube. Again, it's a very low budget film, but it is basically a remake of Way of the Dragon. But
Oh, I
set,
love Way of the Dragon as well.
yeah, well, this is once you watch this, you'll never be able to watch Way of the Dragon again because this is 10 times better than Way of the Dragon, in my
Okay.
opinion.
All right.
But if it follows the structure, but it's in New Zealand, and again, I won't give it away, but he gets off the island and he goes, "Oh, you're the PI I sent for," and she goes, "Private investigator." He goes, "No, Pacific Islander." It's like that kind of humor. It's like just so stupid. It's wonderful.
Okay. I'm going to check it
Oh,
out.
Oh,
awesome.
great.
That's
It was a
awesome.
pleasure to meet you, and thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed this chat. It's been wonderful.
It's
Oh, it's
been
been brilliant.
great.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting you at some of these seminars and what have you, and I'll look out for you at the next
And the other
Ian
thing is,
Abernathy one for him chucking you on the ground.
yeah, no, that's always fun. We've got Abernathy coming in July to our dojang, but if you want me to invite you down to your neck of the woods, I'd love to come down and visit just to
Yeah,
train
that'd
and
be great.
share ideas. I'm always up for a road trip. I love going and visiting people. I just need to be. I'm like a vampire. I just need to be invited.
Oh, really?
You're more than welcome anytime.
And
We
once you've been
could
invited
definitely
in,
set something up. Yeah,
we can never
for
uninvite you
sure.
again.
That's it. That's it. Can't get rid of me then.
No,
Yeah,
that's
we'll do
cool.
that.
Well, hopefully we'll see you at seminars and at Ian's and at our place sometime.
Excellent. Yeah, sounds great.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
That's been really fascinating. And love that
Yeah.
movie. Can't wait.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm going to check that out today.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much. And we will stay in touch.
Oh, and so the book's coming out. What date did you say it was coming out?
May 3rd, it will be available for physical, but you can pre-order it now.
Yeah.
And they order it on your website. Yep.
Yep, no worries.
Awesome. We'll share
Recipe-
that. Thank you.
Recipes do not make delicious meals is the name of the book.
Recipes.
Great title. I love it.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's brilliant.
Right.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming on,
much.
for giving us your time. We appreciate that. Thank you.
No, it's wonderful. No,
Take care.
like I say, it's just meeting people. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is. It's brilliant meeting people. It's lovely. It's the best thing. It's what we've enjoyed for all the time that we've been doing this. Is just
Oh,
we
this is
get
the
to
best
meet
part of it. Yeah.
all these amazing people and just hear all these perspectives. And it's just, we hear all the time that people just love hearing different people from different martial arts talk about their different experiences, but also how similar stuff is for them. The challenges are the same, the work is the same, but even though the martial arts might look different, all of the experiences have so much commonality. And it's brilliant hearing from people who started when they were 3 or 10 or 50 and that they've taught in Okinawa or only America. And their backgrounds, everyone coming from such amazingly different backgrounds. I think it's been something that so many people respond to. That it's just martial arts and it's just people. And I love your idea of shoes as well. Perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stealing that for sure. Okay. Right. Thank you so much again, Gus. We will speak soon, catch up soon,
Yeah, no worries.
and best of luck with the book.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
But